Welcome to Coffee and Conversation. My name is Honorine, and today I'm with Abby Rehard, who is pursuing a PhD in musicology. Abby, welcome, and thank you for being with me today.
Thanks, happy to be here.
Let's start with a little introduction.
So I'm Abby. I'm from a very small rural town in Missouri. Grew up in a very musical family. Have played piano and percussion since I was very young. Decided to do a percussion performance degree at the University of Missouri in Columbia. Really enjoyed that and decided to continue those studies actually, and did my master's in percussion performance up at Northern Illinois University, where I was focusing a lot on Brazilian percussion. That was kind of my passion project. Ended up going to Brazil on a concert tour after I graduated, and stayed there for 6 months, living in Belo Horizonte in 2015, which kind of led to my larger interest in cultural studies and looking specifically at Brazilian music. So eventually ended up here in Tallahassee to do both a master's and a PhD in musicology, focusing on Brazilian music.
All right, so much to say from this. Where does this passion in Brazil comes from?
It actually started from the language. You have to take a foreign language in undergrad. I'd already taken Spanish in high school and wanted to do something different. Portuguese sounded fun. My parents actually met in Portugal, so I was like, oh, sure, I'll try this. And it ended up being a Brazilian Portuguese class with a fabulous teacher, loved her. And that same year I started taking Portuguese. We had percussion artists who specialize in samba come visit. And so that combination of learning the language and getting to play these instruments just solidified that this was what I needed to be pursuing. It's just electrifying, really, the drumming is, and I love how community-based it is.
Can you tell me more about your research? So you just mentioned samba. Is it something you study, or do you study? And you also mentioned cultural studies.
Within musicology, we have various methodologies and areas of emphasis. I'm kind of on the ethnomusicology side, which is like a mix of anthropology and music, looking at how and why people make music. So that's where like the cultural studies comes in, and a lot of our research methodologies involve field work and participant observation studies and a lot of interviews. So my research is going to be focusing on an all-women's maracatu drumming group who I got to play with when I was living there in 2015, and seeing how they've grown as a group and have become very politically active and using this drumming style to amplify their voices will be the big focus of my work through my dissertation. So
they were the one who inspired you to pursue a PhD?
Yeah, it was always in the back of my mind. I just went there to play, really, to drum and learn as much as I could. And then I went back to the States, worked a little bit, and it was just in the back of my mind, like, there's something there. There's a really cool story there. And, having a drumming ensemble made up of women is inherently political. This tradition is, percussion's typically a male-dominated area. You don't really think of women drumming, and when you have a huge group of like 50 women yelling and drumming, like some of the loudest music you'll ever hear out on the public streets, it's a good time.
So you said political. Is it something that, like, first, how are they political? Are they political because they are a group of women playing instead of men? And my second question is, do you study that political aspect of the group?
Yeah, so just being women and, playing this male-dominated style with sacred roots is political in and of itself, but also that, they're very involved with the Brazilian women's rights movement and social rights organizations, and, thinking about, social rights across the board. They're very much, recently have been welcoming trans women into the group and broadening that idea of what womanhood is in Brazil. Trying to feature Black Brazilian women in the group as well. So kind of getting this intersectionality and, broadening this idea of feminism in Brazil, just like what's happening here.
So you recently went to Brazil with a Fulbright, right? This past summer.
I'm about to.
Oh, you're about to. So tell me more about that future project then.
Yeah, so last spring I actually got 2 grants, the Presser Foundation for graduate music students and the Fulbright, which will fund a full year of my fieldwork research from this November to November 2023. I'll be in Belo Horizonte, Brazil to do my research.
Wow, that's exciting.
So I'll be working with Baque de Mina, doing a lot of interviews with the director and members and audiences and social rights activists in that city. And I'll be affiliated with the State University of Minas Gerais and the musicology area down there.
And what are you hoping to get out of this year of research?
This is mostly just getting a better understanding of like the day-to-day activities of the group. I haven't played with them since 2015, and the leadership has changed. So getting to know what, the mission of the group is now, how these women are thinking about, their participation in this drumming style and what it means to them. I'm really focusing on their stories more than anything throughout this time, and trying to get as much interviewing in as I can. And getting to see them play in Carnival, one of the biggest performance spaces for them. They have a big like months-long event called Os Dias Mulheres Virão, the Women's Days Will Come, that is specifically like free workshops for women of all ages, lectures with social activists, with traditional maracatu drummers. It's going to be a big thing. So just being there is really what it's all about.
So you will participate in the carnival?
Yeah, this will be my first time doing carnival in Brazil. It's going to be a little, not a little, but a lot exciting.
Wow, the definitely is like once in a lifetime, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not, Belo Horizonte is probably like the 5th largest city in Brazil. It's nothing like Rio's Carnival, which is like the biggest party in the world, but it's still like everything shuts down for days, and there's just parades and loud music. And
I mean, Brazil is a huge country, so the fifth biggest city, it's gonna be huge. And what do you like to do besides speaking Portuguese and going to Brazil and playing music?
Oh, so many things. I actually just got in from doing a bunch of gardening. So I love being outside, biking, swimming. I love the Florida climate compared to Missouri. I don't miss winters at all. So being able to be outdoors is really important to me. And we do, at least with like my friend group, we do weekly art nights. So everyone does their own activity. I've been into printmaking lately. Some of my friends do crocheting and embroidery. So we just get together and just make something. It's kind of nice to just chill and not think about schoolwork.
For sure. And it's very important to take breaks.
Yeah. And I also do capoeira, another Brazilian martial art, but there's a local capoeira academy here in town called Tallahassee Capoeira that I go to about 3 times a week.
Ooh, okay. Also, you're really in the Brazilian culture no matter where you go.
It's It's infectious. Once you start, it's hard to stop.
And what do you see yourself in 5 years from today?
That is like the hardest question for anyone to ask me. I've never known. I don't really plan that far ahead. I usually just like to keep my look out for opportunities. Some aspect of teaching. I love teaching. I love performing and directing ensembles.
Okay.
I direct the steel band ensemble here on campus, and then research. So some combination of that. It doesn't necessarily have to be within a university, but any sort of organization setting, community programming, museum, outreach, I can see myself doing.
Well, thank you so much for your time. It was great to know more about your passion for Brazil and your research and your gardening and creativity. It sounds like you're a very creative person.
Yeah. Yeah, musical and artistic family. About half of them are artists, half of them are in the health sciences. So it's a weird mix.
Yeah, it's definitely different. But thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you and have a great day.
Thank you.